Hello friends, welcome back to my blind playthrough of Planescape Torment. This is episode 26. What the hell is going on? Okay, they're not attacking me or anything. That's good. I was a bit worried there. Anyway, this is episode 26 and we are here at the underground city of the ghouls. So let's refresh my memory a bit and read the journal entries. I would do this off camera, but I know that there is sometimes interesting stuff to read in there as well. So let's start with that. I finally found Farad in a buried village beneath Ragbecker's Square. Unfortunately, the place doesn't smell any better than the hive. At least Farad might have some information for me. Interesting how the game emphasized finally there, as if it knew how much time I really spent in the hive. I agreed to descend into the catacombs for Farad and bring him back a bronze sphere. He thinks the sphere is located in the deepest part of the catacombs, where the water has drowned out the passageways. The entrance to the first part of the catacombs is in the southeast portion of the village past the gate. Right, okay, so this is the stuff with Farad, and then Farad said that I wanted to get back in the mortuary for some reason. Why? Was I looking for something there? Yes. So this is definitely something to keep in mind, right? I tricked Farad into telling me where he gets his bodies without having to give my word not to say anything. I don't think he even noticed. More fool him. Interesting. I mean, if we had given our word, would we have been able to break it later? Um, what I'm getting at is there some sort of magical mechanism, maybe, that prevents you from breaking your word? That would be interesting, but it would also kind of be out of left field, as I don't think I've seen anything to even insinuate the fact. The alternative is that I simply wouldn't be able to break my word because the game works that way, because I just wouldn't have the choice to do that. Either way, it seems to be a good thing that we didn't give our word, because now we have presumably more options. Found out where that old ghoul Farad is getting his wealth of dead bodies from. He has found a stretch of catacombs buried beneath the buried village. The dustmen have entered a number of bodies there, so Farad digs them up, sells them back to the dustmen, waits for the dustmen to bury them again, then digs them up again. A non-stop source of jink. Ghoulish, but effective. I mean, that is pretty devious, and also it seems kind of harmless, right? Like what Ferret is doing might be morally questionable, but it's nowhere near as bad as my original hypothesis. It wasn't actually my hypothesis. I think the game suggested it at 1.2, but the idea was simply that he's killing people. You know, he's killing people and selling their bodies, which would be against the rules of the Dustmen and presumably against the rules of Sigil itself. Anyway, this is pretty ingenious. What I find interesting here is how the journal refers to him as a ghoul twice. And he doesn't look like an actual ghoul. He looks like a human, albeit an old human, but I don't know, what is the game trying to tell me here? I mean, being in the city of ghouls right now, I'm kind of inclined to think of them. So the fact that they use this word twice, even that first mention, that old ghoul Farad, was already enough to pique my interest, to raise my suspicions. But twice in one little journal entry, that's saying something, isn't it? Or maybe it's just saying that the word ghoulish, to describe something that we don't like, is maybe strongly associated with the actual ghouls that we see in this game. So perhaps there is like prejudice against the ghouls, or perhaps the ghouls are just that kind of people, to do things like that. That remains to be seen, I suppose. A stone face in the Weeping Stone Catacombs told me of his fate, to have his senses bound into a carven stone head through which all the filth of Sigil would eventually flow. This curse can be broken by a taste of pure water. Apparently an artist collector named Chad knows where I can find a flask that will fulfill these conditions. I just gotta laugh at the word at the name Chad. It just sounds so normal, you know. It's always like in every fantasy setting, there's like all these crazy names, like these fantasy sounding names, and then there's always someone like Gary. I think there is a Gary in Morrowind. It's just out of nowhere, like the only name even similar to a real world name in Morrowind, and it's just Gary. I don't know. I find it funny. I feel like there is a name like that in pretty much every fantasy setting. But let's not let that distract me from the substance of the entry. So yeah, we met a stone face, bound into a carven stone head, a taste of pure water. That sounds like a quest, which we probably have in our journal, right? Let's keep going. I came across an undead sorcerer priest of great power who claimed that I had trespassed into the dead nations, the realm of some silent king. I agreed to surrender and was told that I am free to wander the halls, but that I could not leave the catacombs. The skeleton priest said I was to be a prisoner until my death, but should I later arise as they had, I would be free. Perhaps there is another way, though. Interesting. So the game is telling me that there is indeed another way. I don't know if I should stress about that too much, though. I mean, I can just die and be reborn and everything's fine. So really, death sounds like a perfectly okay option for me, unless there's some reason why it shouldn't, which I will learn, no doubt. Soego told me not to attack any undead in the dead nations, for they shall not harm me so long as I remain peaceful. I will try. Murder hobo is not really my playstyle in any RPG. I spoke to a skeleton who is contemplating giving up his undead status and dying forever. I imagine Soego would be very interested in speaking with him. Okay. And is there a quest for that? There doesn't seem to be one, but we will try to bring it up the next time we talk to Soego. And then we have to find the decanter of endless water. So yeah, the speaking head, name of Glyve, that's right. The Weeping Stone Catacombs, I remember where it was. Well, I remember how the place looked, so that's enough, I think. Fetch a decanter of fresh water. Well, maybe we will find it right here. Okay, so this brings us up to speed. Wow, I spent a lot of time reading the journal. And we are here with a bunch of ghouls. A knifed ghoul, no less. Well, let's start with them. This ghoul's face has a great gash across it, and one of its eyes has been destroyed entirely. Despite the relative freshness of the wound, it seems to cause the foul-smelling creature no pain or discomfort. You notice a grimy knife tucked into its waistband. The letters UHIR are carved into its handle. You here, huh? And I butchered those letters. I gotta brush up on my spelling. You here or you here? That's a weird thing to say first. Let's just greet them. The ghoul narrows his eyes and snarls at you. Its tongue, no less than 2 hands long, curls out to lick at its scabby lips. Okay. I had some questions? The ghoul continues to eye you hungrily. He clenches and unclenches his clawed fists as if fighting the urge to leap upon you and feed. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want that knife. I mean, it sounds like it's for a quest, right? I don't think I got a quest to fetch a knife yet. But I also just don't want to make this ghoul angry, because that could count as being hostile towards the denizens of this place. Okay, let's leave for now and maybe come back when you're better disposed to talk to me. Pretty please. Okay, so let's talk to Acaste, who looks pretty ghoulish indeed. The rot stink of this ancient-looking ghoul woman is nauseating, even from a distance. Her gray-green skin is infested with tomb rot and festering sores, and her fingers, each capped by a long, curved talon, are covered in dried blood and filth. Her hair, thick with scuttling insects and worms, hangs to her knees. It hides nearly all her face in shadow, save for a fanged, feral grin and a lolling grey tongue. You look dangerous. Fanged feral grin, huh? Well, let's hope she isn't as ghoulish as her demeanor or appearance would suggest. Greetings.
Sst! What have we here? Some pretty meat, aye. A little tough gristle. Sharpen me teeth on your bone and grow fat on your marrow, hmm? Sss.
Okay. I had some questions.
Who are you to come before me like a feast? Answer, Acaste.
Okay, well, she seems pretty annoyed with me. Maybe it's better to just give her a name. I am Ada. Weird. I think I saw that name in the last episode, and actually, one of you told me in the comments that there's like a secret thing if I say that name a bunch of times. I don't know. In this case, I will roleplay that the reason why I'm saying it is to, not to bother her, because telling her that I have no name would presumably not really be well received, right? I am Adan.
Adan.
She draws her long grey tongue slowly across her lips, yellowish drool trickling from the corners of her mouth.
Yes.
Well, now I actually kind of regret telling her that name. I have questions.
Go. Pester Acaste while you still live, meat. Ask.
Well, I was going to ask who you are, but I didn't really see that question. Where am I?
Silent King's lands, dead nations, place of marrow-filled bones and herd of dead flesh.
She licks her lips hungrily, clutching at her belly. Who else inhabits this place, then?
Many wander these halls, yes. Marrow-filled bones, herd of dead flesh. We, the blighted ones. All ruled by the Silent King.
She spits in disgust.
Who tells us what to do, what not to do. Also the little tasties, blooded rats.
Acaste rubs her clawed hands together greedily. Well, an appetite for rats, huh? I suppose there's not much more to eat down here. The Silent King. I mean, she was calling for rebellion before, right? She was calling for some sort of rebellion against the Silent King at the end of the last episode, I think. Because I watched the last episode before. Well, I skimmed through it before playing this just to refresh my memory. Okay, tell me of your own kind.
We are the blighted ones, yes. Acaste and her lovely ghouls, her children, always hungry.
Her lovely ghouls, huh? So these ghouls are yours to command. What are you doing here, then?
We fight, win, and feed. Blooded ones such as you become our food in the end. Ravenous hungers we have. Burn the stomach, never full. We hunger all the time. And here ye are. Hurry up, die, and be still.
Well, blooded ones. Well, that presumably means just all... I was gonna say all living humans, but am I actually a living person? That's arguable. That's disputable. What's the word? One of those. Um, Silent King. Huh. So now I'm trying to think, like, okay, this Acaste sort of seems to lay claim to the ghouls around her, like they are her private army, her, I don't know, her flock, maybe, something like that. And what is actually the sort of domain of the Silent King then? Blooded ones.
Meat people to eat.
Her yellow eyes peer intently at you through her ragged white hair.
Yeah.
That's just lovely. You know, I appreciate your willingness to have a conversation with me despite your apparent lust for my flesh. Why have I been made a prisoner? I mean, that seems kind of obvious, you know? They're gonna eat me. Acaste grimaces.
Because we didn't catch you in the dark halls where you'd have been a meal to us.
Ah, okay, so she still formally obeys the Silent King, so she can't really go against his command in this, right? She shakes her head, snarling.
Damn the Silent King. Damn his old bones. Meat caught here by the others stays here until it joins the others.
And the others, so those would be the followers of the Silent King, presumably? Tell me about the Silent King, then.
Unseen king, not silent. He say, we do. Marrow-stuffed bones and herd of dead flesh obey him, no question. Acaste not see, Acaste only hear. One day I shall meet this one. Meet this one. Yes. Acaste strong, and Silent One weak. We shall see who master. Yes.
Okay, I'm loving the sort of dialogue of Acaste, her lines. Some interesting stuff here. So, the Unseen King, actually. So, they get commands, but they don't know from whom. Like, okay, how could this be? So, there could be a mediator, someone saying that, hey, I have commands from the king, you know, from the gods, from the king, and this is what you have to do, you know. So someone basically trying to exercise power while using the supposed authority of a higher being to sort of explain that power, you know, explain why they are in charge. Could be that. Could be that there's some sort of voice that people can hear, and there's some sort of magical, mystical, or maybe just a regular old natural explanation for that. You know, some sort of voice that just sounds in the halls once in a while, you know, something like that. It could be that they have some sort of common consciousness, maybe, like the cranium rats, you know, kind of. It could be that they share thoughts or something like that. Anyway, I think I'm, you know, making things up out of thin air here. I don't have much to go on, but I just wanted to say that, hey, there's a lot of ways that this could keep going. So marrow-stuffed bones and herd of dead flesh obey him, no question. So are you talking about like the meaty inhabitants of this place? Come to think of it, how many are there actually? I've only seen Soego, the collector here, who would be sort of like a, you know... Oh, never... Okay, marrow-stuffed bones, that would be like living people, and dead flesh would be ghouls. Okay, so all down here obey him except for you. Got it. And she very much wants to meet him and eat him. That's good. It's good to have goals, Acaste. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I'm not sure if you're the one who's strong, and you know, we shall see about that. Who else inhabits this place?
Many wander these halls, yes. Marrow-filled bones, herd of dead flesh. We, the blighted ones, all ruled by the Silent King.
You're right. This is we read this one already. Interesting though. So marrow-filled bones, that's referring to living people. Herd of dead flesh, we the blighted ones. Is that one sort of whole? Or are the blighted ones supposed to be different from the herd of dead flesh? I'm not sure about that. Tell me about the herd of dead flesh.
Sss. Make noises like bloodied cattle and stink of rotten, sweet, stale juice.
Acaste licks her lips, sucking spittle between her teeth. She frowns, then raises her arms and starts shambling about.
Go, most time. Stumble, shamble, and work. Stupid food. Stupid half-brain meat being.
Do you mean some of the other less intelligent seeming ghouls, or who do you mean exactly? Hang on, was I... There were some different options here. I'm getting lost in all those dialogue options. What are you doing here? Did I ask that already? Yes, I did. Okay. Have you seen a small bronze sphere anywhere here? Good question. That's actually what we came here for. Acaste shakes her head, lice dropping from her long white hair as it sways about. Ugh. This is some disgusting shit.
Acaste opens many coffins, many tombs. Never seen such a thing.
Well? Then maybe I can ask you of someone in particular. Acaste narrows her eyes and cocks her head.
Who does the meat ask about?
Yeah, tell me about yourself. Actually, that was the first question that I wanted to ask, if you remember.
Acaste I am. Ghoul mother and queen of the blighted ones, yes. Strong, fast. We hunt and eat in these halls.
Okay, and by blighted ones you mean ghouls, right? Right. How about the Silent King? I think we asked about him already, but just to... Yeah, okay. Just to sort of exhaust all sorts of information that she has. What about Hargrimm?
Marrow.
Acaste licks her cracked lips and gives a feral grin.
Old Marrow. But is Marrow.
Acaste snarls, eyes burn.
Kill him. Kill all the bones. If not for the weak bones and herd of dead flesh.
And Soego?
Pale-blooded one who sleeps in dust and smells like blooded rat. He first I eat.
He smells of blooded rat. Why would that be?
Hssst. But good eat him anyway. He stink of dust, but ripe blood and meat beneath his pale skin. Good to eat.
Okay, but a blooded rat. What is that? Is that one of those were rats that we met in one of the latest episodes?
Go squeak, squeak. Run into dark, small tunnels when chased. Hard to catch. Snacks, hard to get. Warm flesh, easy crunch in teeth. Many of them elsewhere. We go kill them and eat them all. Hunger go away with so many in belly. Always watching us. With red juicy eyes in dark want to eat them.
Well. I mean, sounds like she just means regular rats, presumably not were rats, because actually, thinking about it, were rats would probably fight back quite hard, and, there isn't really much of a size difference between the two, between the ghouls and the were rats, I mean. So that would be, the outcome of that would be uncertain for sure. Knifed ghoul, okay, we saw you. Now, where else does this lead? Oh, we have a cabal of skeletons here. With some Graves? This is an iron-hinged lid that opens into a small coffin area. Okay. Small coffin areas here. How about the skeletons? Let's talk to the skeletons. There is no meat left on the bones of this ancient animated corpse, only a few colored rags which seem to serve more as decoration than clothing. Greetings. And greetings to thee. The thing's calm, faraway voice echoes from within its skull, expelled with a cloud of dust. Some questions, maybe? I shall answer what I can. Dust falls from the joints of the skeleton's jaws as it speaks. Ask what thou will. I've more than enough time to speak with thee. Well, pretty much the same questions that I had for Acaste. Actually, I thought there would be fewer options here. Where am I? Thou art in what we call the Dead Nations, our land and home beneath the city of Sigil. This is but a small part of our civilization, a borderland. The Dead Nations extend for many, many leagues into the darkness. Interesting. A borderland. Between what exactly? I mean, between the Dead Nations and Sigil, I suppose, or maybe there is something else. Well, yeah, there is actually. There's the Were-Rats territory. I had some other questions. The skeleton nods slowly, the bones of its neck creaking softly. Please ask. Why have I been made a prisoner? The skeleton touches its chin, tilting its skull slightly upwards. The ghouls are permitted to feast upon all those found robbing the catacombs. The Silent King felt it would be best to let other intruders, those caught wandering and made prisoners such as thyself, languish here to lapse into our care, rather than be devoured by the ghouls. Thou may wish to ask Hargrimm, our high priest. It is he who speaks to the Silent King. Well, I think I did ask him at some point, actually, but not sure what he said anymore. Tell me of Hargrimm. Our high priest. It is he who speaks to the Silent King, giving us our Lord's word and law. He is here in the antechamber of the Silent King's throne room. Right, what about the Silent King, though? Our Lord and Master. He is called the Silent King because he speaks only in times of dire need. Interesting. The skeleton gesticulates as it speaks, all joints creaking and popping as it does so. Ask Hargrimm, our high priest, of him. He can tell thee more. Okay, I shall do that as soon as possible, actually. Who else inhabits this place? This place is a place of the undead, ruled by our Silent King. There are zombies here, as well as ghouls. Farther away, in catacombs to the east, live cranium rats. Also, on occasion, one of the living, such as thyself or Soego, ventures down here. Okay, this is a much nicer overview. Certainly a less biased overview than we got from Acaste. So I now get the full picture. We got skeletons, zombies, ghouls, and then rats over there, and the living, which is just me and Soego and no one else. Okay. Tell me of the... tell me of your own kind first. The skeleton nods. We are the oldest of the undead here, the most free of flesh. We make an effort to serve as guides and mentors to the others, maintaining a healthy community here. Okay, the other undead. Of whom do thou ask? The zombies? Strong but slow of mind and body, they have retained more of their humanity, their emotions, than we. They serve our community as workers, laborers, under the guidance of Stale Mary, the most caring and intelligent of them. Okay, this is a really interesting characterization of zombies that I don't think I've seen anywhere, right? They retain more of their emotions than the skeletons? Workers, laborers, caring for others? Okay. Tell me of Stale Mary, she sounds intriguing as hell. She is slow, but caring and wise. She acts as a mother of sorts to the other zombies. She may be found in a chamber west of where thou first entered the Dead Nations. Yes, I totally remember where I entered. Tell me about, no, someone else. Actually, no, I had, tell me about, the cranium rats, let's say. Vermin whose intelligence increases according to their proximity with others of their own kind. A serious threat at one time. They raided our charges, disturbing the bones of the Silent Ones. Now they keep to the easternmost portions of the catacombs. The ghouls caught and ate enough of them to put an end to their pillaging, if only temporarily. Okay, a serious threat, but now no longer. Raided our charges. Who would that be? The bones of the Silent Ones? The Silent Ones. Hang on, so there is a Silent King and now there are other Silent Ones? Which sounds like just a euphemism for the truly dead? Like, those who are maybe here in the coffins, those who can't get up, those who are not skeletons or zombies or whatever? Okay, your charges. The Silent Ones, the dead who do naught but sleep. We protect them, watch over them as they rest. Right, makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense in the context of the whole situation. Who would disturb them? The cranium rats, right? Mane. He ticks them off on yellow, dust-covered finger bones as he speaks. Hungry, uncontrolled ghouls, rats, and most of all, the living. Those from the buried village, servants of a man named Farad, often descend into the vaults of the Dead Nations, disturbing the Silent Ones. I do not know why, nor do I care. My only concern is that we stop their foul laboring. Well, we do know why they would disturb the Silent Ones. I kind of empathize with this skeleton. He feels a sense of duty to protect them, and yeah, what Farad and his people are doing, that's not gonna make them sympathetic to the skeleton, or I mean the other way around. Any other people I can ask about? Yes, Soego. He is a missionary of sorts, a dustman who hopes to persuade us to surrender ourselves to the true death. He can be found wandering the chapel in the northern reaches of these cold, dusty halls. Thou may wish to speak with him thyself. You know, I'm not actually sure if I mentioned this at any point, but I find it pretty cool how we met Soego in a different place and now he's here. It adds a sense of sort of dynamism to this game world, right? It makes it look like stuff is happening, you know, the world is going on, moving on without us, really. Pretty cool stuff. Other questions? Someone in particular. We asked about the Silent King, we asked about Hargrimm, we asked about most of these actually, except for Acaste, I believe. She is the ghastly matriarch of a pack of ghouls which calls themselves the Blighted Ones. They serve the Dead Nations as guardians and protectors, for now. She watches over the chamber where thou first entered the Dead Nations. Hang on, so the guardians and protectors of this nation are those who want to rebel against the Silent King? Unless I seriously misinterpreted what they told me. That is, I don't know, that doesn't feel like a stable arrangement, does it? Other questions, maybe? Have you seen a small bronze sphere anywhere here? The skeleton shrugs, its shoulder blades scraping along the back of its rib cage. No, I have not. Perhaps thou should speak to Hargrimm, our high priest. He knows much. Right. I love how you can just ask everyone about the things you're looking for the main quest. You know, before it was Farad and the journal, now it's the Bronze Sphere. You can just ask everyone and anyone. I love it. This is great. Hargrimm, we asked about. Okay, the antechamber of the Silent King's throne room. That's all I wish to know. Right. Good stuff right there. Oh, this royal guard actually reminds me of the greater skeletons that I met in the mortuary. I mean, yeah, in the mortuary, where the game started. I'm actually kind of well, that makes complete sense because these are giant skeletons, right? These are small skeletons, and these are giant skeletons guarding the throne room. So, what do the skeletons serve as? Actually, I think I asked him about his people, but I'm not sure I learned that really. This foreboding entrance emits a slight wind groaning through the tunnels. Let's ask politely whether I can enter. This massive skeleton, far larger than an ordinary human, wears ornate bronze armor engraved with elaborate symbols. As you approach it, it looks down at you briefly, then away again. I mean, it's not the worst start, I think. Greetings. Greetings, living. The thing's voice booms. I stand here as a royal guard of His Lord and Majesty the Silent King. I must ask that you do not distract me from my task with questions. Okay, could you at least tell me who you are or where? I am in death as I was in life, one of the 99 sons of the Western Mountains, fathered when the member of Amahar was severed and cast down upon the face of Ithir. Whoa, that's crazy. That's a crazy backstory, my friend. Okay, the member of Amahar was severed and cast down, and that's how you were fathered. Cool, you know. I guess you're really proud of your heritage, but if that was how I came into being, I probably wouldn't open with that, you know, when meeting new people. Just saying. Honor bound to defend our queen, we were lost to this world when ours, and our lady with it, was destroyed by an angry godling, a brother to Amahar. Many of our number roamed the plains, but some, like myself, chose to remain in Sigil. When I passed away, I was interred here, and later awoke in the state you find me in now. I then chose a new master, the Silent King, to defend. It's interesting how you were. So you actually died. You were here for you were dead for a while, and then you were interred here, and then you just happened to awake, or you know why do these dead become undead? What determines that they are going to rise again? What determines what they will be, whether skeletons or ghouls or... Well, I suppose this one could actually be just a difference between how long they stay dead, you know? If the flesh decomposes, then you're gonna rise as a skeleton, not as a ghoul, obviously, right? Or a zombie, but this is actually raising some interesting questions here. I'm not sure what to think here. Defend our queen. Well, 99 Sons of the Western Mountains. I don't think we know anything about the Western Mountains or the Queen of the Western Mountains, and Amahar. I don't even think I've heard of an Amahar either. Let me just check though. Journal would be the place to check. No. Queen? Nothing like that. Unless there's something here in the journal, in the beasts section of the journal. Don't really see anything though. Okay. It sounds like you don't want me to enter. But I kind of want to go inside, you know? And I will need a key. Or more likely, I will just need to persuade the guards to let me in, right? Okay. Good to know. Locked door. Locked door. Doesn't say I need a key though, it just says that the door is locked. So if I try to
endure, your
bash
path
this,
is mine.
you know, just I cannot force this. Does that mean like ever, or does it mean just the attempt failed? Okay, it doesn't seem too promising. Right. Maybe I'm never supposed to go to these places. Maybe there's just like set dressing, you know?
I'm gone.
Alright, let's try and explore in one of the other directions. I love how all these ghouls are just chilling around here. And zombies and skeletons. Alright, let's actually speak to a zombie, because I want to sort of talk to one with the new information that they are supposed to be like emotionally attached. You know, they are supposed to have many more emotions than the skeletons. This rotting female corpse at first seems completely unaware of you. As you approach, however, it turns and nods slowly as if greeting you. Wow, Chief, what a beauty, eh? Not everywhere you can meet a sweet little chit like that, you know? Well, perhaps if you can get past the entire stench-ridden, maggot-ridden, rotting carcass thing, then sure, Mort. Yeah, see, that's what I'm... Hey! Mort spins to face you. Are you getting sarcastic on me? Sure. I mean, obviously. Wouldn't you? Greet the zombie. The zombie moans softly in reply. Fine. With each exhalation, the stench of rotting meat fills the air. Yeah, I forgot how difficult these zombies are to talk to. I can't make out anything she's saying. Right. Now let's take a look at the map. Are there any places that I've neglected to explore? Okay, so this is the antechamber to the throne room, obviously. Soego's chambers, the chapel. Let's talk to Hargrimm again, if I can find him. Wait, Skeleton Merchant? Skeleton Merchant, come here. You see a skeleton bouncing from the ball of 1 foot to another. Air whistles from between its teeth. It looks very, very bored. As you approach, or at your approach, its demeanor changes entirely. Welcome, welcome. I've got a host of items for your perusal, fresh from the latest bergs who've been trying to loot the quiet ones. Would you like to see them? Well, show me what you got. Hammer of quality, ooh. This is a finely crafted warhammer. Godsman etchings and symbology decorate the head of the weapon and work their way down the shaft. Despite its heavy appearance, it feels much lighter than it looks. Battle axe of quality, a bone dagger. Nothing for a mage, really. Ooh, Scroll of Bloodbridge, which we actually already have, so that's kind of useless. Scroll of Ice Knife, though. Is this the ice knife that I know from Baldur's Gate 3? I think the spell in that game is called Ice Knife, right? Daggers of ice can be conjured that not only strike the intended target, but can spread cold as ice and water. This spell fires a magical ice dagger at a target. The caster must successfully hit with his normal missile attack roll. A successful hit causes 2 to 8 points of damage per dagger. When the ice knife strikes a solid object or a creature, the knife shatters, releasing a wave of numbing cold. All creatures within a 5-inch radius, 5-foot radius? Not sure how to read that. Must make a successful saving throw versus paralyzation or suffer 1 to 4 points of cold damage and have a -2 penalty to their attack rolls. If the attack roll misses, the ice dagger will fall to the ground 2 feet past, using the same trajectory that it originally took, the intended target. Okay, the ice dagger will then remain on the ground for 2 seconds. If any creature touches this ice dagger during that time, it will immediately shatter and emit a cold wave as above. If not, then after the elapsed time it will melt away. Finally, the caster gains 1 additional ice dagger for every 2 levels after 3rd level, for a maximum of 5 daggers? Oh, okay. The subsequent daggers can be fired off by a subsequent click on the same or another target. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. Okay, wow, the description is super specific, which is good, obviously. I'm not sure I got it all though. So yeah, it basically hits the target, spreads a radius. If it doesn't hit the target, it falls to the ground like 2 feet past the target, right? And it has an effect that lasts for like 2 seconds on the ground, right? Emit a cold wave. Interesting. A wave of numbing cold. Well, either way, this spell sounds pretty useful. Now, there is another we can't afford. Scroll of Elysium Steers. The skies of the upper planes shed tears when evil is done. These tears can burn even the most armored of foes. Oh wow, that sounds like a killer spell, doesn't it? The caster chooses any single target within range. Then a stream of small meteors rains down and strike the target and surrounding area. 1 meteor for each level of experience, up to a maximum of 10. Each missile that hits inflicts 1 to 2 points of blunt damage and 1 to 4 points of fire damage. Anyone within 3 feet of the target takes 1 point of fire damage as well. That's nice. Huh. 1 meteor for each level of experience up to a maximum of 10. Does that mean that level 9 is like the maximum level I can get in the game? I think when I checked out the spell book, the maximum level for a spell was level 9. And it kind of sounds like the levels for spells and for my character are correlated, or, well, actually identical, pretty much, right? So, huh. I guess that's how I choose to interpret that until then. I mean, until I find out otherwise. Well, okay, this spell is twice as expensive as this one, so it's got to be better, right? That's the wrong way to think about this, but can I sell anything to make enough money for this? I don't want to sell the tome, right? It's been a while since we checked it out, but it sounds like it'll come in useful at some point. So let's sell the bronze bracelet. And now I have the scroll of Elysium Steers, and boy oh boy, which one should I choose? This is a level 2 wizard, range 50 feet, speed 2. This is speed 3, level 3. 1 target per meteor. I mean, this sounds pretty sweet. I think I'll buy the Elysium Steers, and if I, want to buy the Ice Knife as well down the line, it doesn't seem... It's not as expensive, so it seems fairly easy to make enough money for. All right, I got myself a new scroll. Thank you very much, Mr. Merchant Skeleton. Let's copy the spell down into my journal. There it is. Now, looking at my inventory, there are actually some items that I should probably identify, aren't there? What about this triangle earring? Yes. You received this small earring from folding a note in the mouth of one of the walking corpses in the mortuary. It's a beautiful earring, but despite its beauty, all it seems to do is remind how strange this world you've woken up in is. Okay, so let's identify it with a scroll. And there it is. Okay, that just happened. This earring carries a minor blessing from one of the gods of wealth on some backwater Priam world. When held in the hand and the word copper is whispered, it gives the wearer... What? It gives the wearer 33 copper commons. This blessing can be used 3 times before the enchantment is exhausted. So this is basically a voucher for 99 copper, is what you're saying? Right? Okay, that's funny. 57. 90. 123, and I have consumed the item. Cool. I got some money out of that, though. I mean, there wasn't really a point to saving the uses, right? I don't really think it would just take up space in my inventory. Do I have anything else that needs to be identified? Not like I could if I wanted, but yes, a sledgehammer, but I really don't have any options here. So, you know, I thought that one of my characters had a identification spell. Okay, yeah, I do actually have it. I just didn't equip it this round because I expected to fight a lot of nasties. All right, that's fine. This pulpit is made of old wood slowly falling apart in the damp air of the catacombs. Right. So hang on, can I talk to Hargrimm? I kind of expected to find him here at the pulpit. Didn't happen. Hang on, there's a bookcase here that I completely missed. And it's a scroll of Bloodbridge. Interesting. Now, I think I know Bloodbridge. That is, the nameless one knows Bloodbridge, right? Yep. What about the con, though? He doesn't seem to know it. So let's give it to him. Let's do copy spell. Is that why it's green now? Yeah, if I put it here, it doesn't really have any sort of color around it. If I give it to the con, though, there it is. I don't think there is really a reason for me not to learn a spell. You know, I don't think there's a limit to the amount of spells that you can know, right? I mean, there seems to be a limit, but it seems absurdly large, right? 24, 20 spells for each level. I mean, that's got to be enough for everything, right? Maybe there's even a way to forget spells. Let's just talk to Soego. Ah, well met again. I met a skeleton in one of the hallways here that seems on the brink of seeking the true death. Yeah, that's right, our friend. Oh, I will go speak with him now. Farewell, I guess. Okay, so he's going away. So, if I wanted to, I could check out the stuff around here, you know? Now, I'm not saying I want to, right? I don't really think it would be nice of me to rob this place. But I'm just saying it's an option, you know? This metal slab is apparently used as a bed. There looks to be a portion on its side that can be pried open. Well, let's just take a peek, right? I mean, what's the harm here? Certain that Soego's not coming around, you pry open the small panel and peer inside. There's some sort of book or journal there. I really hope I can put it back after this. I don't want to make Soego angry at me for no reason. Let's pull out the journal and read it, though. Whoa! 2000 XP for that. Okay. The book proves to be Soego's journal. It details his being attacked by a were-rat, his eventual regression into lycanthropy, and his flight from the mortuary after unwittingly slaying and devouring a friend? His what now? Holy shit. Looking for a hiding place, he came upon the Warrens of Thought and agreed to serve many as one. Hive mind of the cranium rats gathered there. He is now here in the Dead Nations in order to spy on the undead for many as one, who hopes to one day control this part of the catacombs? Holy shit. Okay. This will be useful knowledge indeed. Right, let's replace it. Close the panel. Nothing ever happened. Came upon the Warrens of Thought, agreed to serve the many as one, and he is a spy here. Unwittingly slaying and devouring a friend. That's horrifying.
Updated my journal.
Updated my journal indeed. I would be concerned if the game didn't update my journal here. Yes, so yeah, this is basically the text that we just read. That's good that we have access to it. Wow. Well, I think I have some news for the... Wow, you are very slow, Soego. I managed to read your entire journal and you're still here in the hallway. I think I have some information that the Silent King, or really anyone here, would be pretty willing to listen to, right? Puzzled skeleton. Have I seen you? I don't think I have. This skeleton is muttering to itself, occasionally pausing to scratch its skull. It is old enough so that no meat is left on its bones, only a few colored rags. Greetings? It nods a greeting in return, but does not reply to you. I had some questions. The skeleton looks up at you and grunts in frustration. Not now. Forgive me, but I have the most horrid riddle on my mind, and I can't puzzle it out. Okay, what's the riddle? I'm good with riddles in video games, because video games typically give you like 3 options, and one of them is obviously the correct one. So, tell me a riddle. It seems surprised. Oh, going to give it a try, art thou? Yes, go right ahead. Very well. This is from a chortling buffoon of a bone bag thou may well find nearby. It refuses to give me the answer, and it's killing me. Killing you, huh? Alright. Go on then. It nods. Think of words which end in "gry." Angry and hungry are 2 of them. There are but 3 words in the common tongue. What is the 3rd word? The word is something that one uses every day. If thou hast listened carefully, I have already told thee what it is. Huh. I don't know, honestly. That's a really cool riddle. I have no idea. Huh. I'm pretty clueless here. It's Stumped as well, eh? Let me know if thou should find the answer. And best of luck should thou try and get it from the chattering fool which gave it to me. Farewell. Okay, I'm wow, okay, who gave you this this riddle? I want to talk to them for sure. Was it you, Mr. Nameless Zombie? I think it was a skeleton, right? I mean, it could be a nameless skeleton. I think this one just has the generic lines. Yeah, of the other skeleton that I spoke to, so that's why I didn't even bother reading his dialogue now. I'm still thinking about the riddle. Not sure what to think about it, though. Man, Soego is taking his sweet time going here. Oh, Hargrimm, here you are. Hargrimm, I need to talk to you. This skeleton wears what appear to be ancient priest's robes, heavy and ornate. It carries a large, impressive stave, which is capped with intricately carved horns, dangling pendants, and a gilded skull. Hang on, have I not spoken to him before? I felt like I did, but not sure. Greetings. The skeleton, its eyes aglow like two burning embers, looks you over, but makes no reply. Are you Hargrimm? It nods solemnly, the pendant suspended from its stave tinkling softly. There is something disquieting about its silent, piercing gaze. I had some questions. It motions for you to proceed. Wow. Wow, lots of options here. Why have I been made a prisoner? 'Tis the will of the Silent King. The living who are caught here are made to languish in his halls until they join the quiet ones. Tell me of the Silent King. Our Lord and Vision, he who makes the law and protects us. Thou would do well to start no trouble here, stranger, for the Silent King's eye is everywhere, and his justice swift. Why is he called the Silent King? We already kind of know that. He speaks no more than necessary to guide us. Praise to the Silent King. You know, he kind of sounds like a god. You know how some believers sort of claim that God spoke to them at core moments of their lives? It's kind of what it reminds me of, right? Like, the Silent King only speaks to his people when absolutely necessary. And other than that, he remains, they remain very much hidden. May I speak with him? That's kind of presumptuous. It holds up a bony palm. With a creaking groan and a puff of dust, its jaws open to speak. No. Its voice, deep and resonant, echoes for a long while in the vaulted chamber. Why not? Its voice booms throughout the chamber. No living creature may pass the doors that lead to his throne room, nor would I allow thee an audience even if such a thing were possible. Thou shalt not see him. Well, I shall definitely see him at some point in the game, calling it now. Maybe the Silent King will request for me to come to him. I'm not going to threaten him. Genuinely or otherwise. I don't really see the point. Where am I? It gestures all around itself. Within the borders of the dead nations, the halls of the Silent King. Right. What are you doing here? It indicates its stave and robes. I am called Hargrimm. I am the high priest of the citizens here. I spread the word of the Silent King to his followers. How did you come to be here then? I passed away long ago and found that beyond death lies only oblivion. Fortunately, I was able to step back at the last moment from the brink. How did you do that? That's a crazy accomplishment. Step back, what do you mean by that? Yes, I awoke here. I wandered the catacombs for untold days before stumbling into the throne of my lord, the Silent King. He spoke to me, and from that fated meeting, the Dead Nations was born. Huh. He just stumbled into his throne? And that's how this whole thing started. I suppose I've heard more impressive nation origin stories, but it has to do. You mentioned followers, so who else is here exactly? We, the skeletons. Other undead, zombies and ghouls. There were once shadows, but they have long since fled. Sometimes one of living spends the last of its days here. Also, far to the east live many cranium rats. Tell me of your kind. We tend to the quiet ones, the true dead, and obey the word of the Silent King. Our work here has gone on for centuries. Right. The undead. Let's say the zombies. Tell me about the zombies. They serve the Silent King and the dead nations as laborers. They work beneath the guidance of Stale Mary, the most intelligent and wisest amongst them. Tell me about her. She is the most intelligent of what some call the Rotting Herd, those zombies which populate the dead nations. Unlike many of us, her heart did not depart at the moment of death. That is as much as can be said. So the skeletons clearly don't think much of her intelligence, but they can see that her sort of caring, kindly nature is an asset. I would very much like to meet her. Not sure where to look though. Tell me of the Rotting Herd. That's what we just heard. Yeah. Okay. Tell me of the ghouls. I do not trust them or their matriarch, Acaste. They watch us with hungry eyes and would doubtless devour us all if our numbers and the word of the Silent King were not a shield against them. It pauses as if thinking. Yeah, there definitely seems to be some sort of tension between the skeletons and the ghouls here. These dead nations don't sound as stable as they seemed. Actually, even the name nations, right? The fact that they are the separation there is sort of emphasized in the plural. You know, it's not the dead nation or the nation of the dead. It's the dead nations. Tell me about Acaste then. She is the matriarch of the ghoul pack that has come to our halls. She is strong and extremely cunning. Extremely cunning, you say? I mean, I'll take your word for it. She didn't really seem extremely cunning to me. Tell me about Soego. He tries to convince us to give up this pretense of life, as he calls it, and pass into the true death. He claims that it is our passions that anchor us to this life, and we must let go of them at our duty. He wants us to die.
Updated my journal.
Some listen to his words, but none have chosen to surrender themselves to his beliefs. Those that did would be forever silenced. Our numbers would dwindle, and all that we have here would be destroyed by what surrounds us. Soego may believe he is doing right, but is in truth causing great harm. Well, why do you allow him to stay then? We cannot force him to leave. He knows we cannot harm him. The dead truce. No undead may injure a dustman unless first attacked. Also, the Silent King wishes no slaughter in his halls. The dead truce, huh? I don't think I've heard about that. That's an interesting concept here. Well, I'm not going to tell him that he's a spy in this episode anyway. I think I'll save it for the next one. I can rest here. That's great. I can get healed here. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. These are actually two great needs taken care of. I mean, the needs are not great right now, but in the future they could be. Have you seen a small bronze sphere anywhere here? I'll save that one for the next time too, because I feel like that's could be a whole thing. I'm just gonna save here. make sure he doesn't walk away so I don't have to look for him the next time again. And yeah, so this was episode 26. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.